Good morning, Lagos. This is UNILAG 103.1 FM. And this is Science World, where curiosity meets discovery. I am your host, Achalugo Chioma Iluzumba. And together we shall explore the fascinating world of science, technology, and innovation. Here on Science World, we analyze groundbreaking research. We also look at everyday science and how it helps shape our lives. Sometimes we spotlight brilliant minds and see how science is powering the future right here in Nigeria and beyond. For today, I have two wonderful people in front of me. In fact, this is actually homecoming. For some of you, this is not the first time you'd be listening to my voice, but it's been a while. It's been about 2 years. I always call UNILAG FM my homecoming. It was my first radio station as an undergraduate, and anytime they call, anytime, I'm here for them. So today, like I mentioned, I have two wonderful people with me. I have Eniola and I have Daniel. Before I introduce them to you, before we get to see what's on their mind, I'll quickly take us through their bios. So I'll begin with Eniola. Now, our first guest, Eniola, is a final year applied physics and electronics student at the University of Lagos with interest in biomedical and rehabilitation engineering. She's the founder of Rioscope, a startup through which she developed and patented an AI-driven blood analyzer for malaria detection, designed to make diagnostics more affordable for underserved communities in Nigeria. She has also gained hands-on experience in engineering, design, and robotics through international training at Rice University, USA. Alongside her research and innovation, Eniola is committed to STEM advocacy and mentoring young girls, encouraging the next generation of women in science and technology. She also aspires to pursue a PhD to further the development of accessible medical technologies worldwide. Hi, Eniola.
Hi, Chioma. Good afternoon.
It's your morning.
Good morning. Sorry. Good morning.
It's the sun in your face. But I think sometimes we get that sun that I look and 10 a.m. I'm saying good afternoon to everybody.
I know, right?
It's okay. So I'll come back to you. Let's quickly look at Daniel. So Daniel Salau is a mechanical engineering student at the University of Lagos, where he serves as the General Secretary of both the Mechanical Engineering Students Association and the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, UNILAG Students Forum. He is also a technology transfer ambassador committed to advancing research, commercialization, and innovation within academia and industry. Daniel represented UNILAG at the 2025 African Engineering and Technology Network conference in Dakar. He also interned at the UNILAG Fabrication Laboratory, where he helped with supporting prototype development and innovation-driven research. Beyond engineering, Daniel is a creative director skilled in branding and visual communication, passionate about blending creativity and technology to drive sustainable development and impactful innovation. That's power pack. To be honest, I actually skipped a few paragraphs.
Come on.
I'm telling you, looking at that you are secretary of two places.
Don't worry, it's just meshed.
It's just what?
It's meshed. It's meshed.
At this point, African mothers. Are you still reading the book with it? But I actually think it's wonderful that people come to school. I think they say come to school and let it also pass through you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that people should come into uni and sometimes nerds, they look good because their grades are great. But I think it's a lot more better when you're able to actually impact the immediate student society and also come out and, you're blazing the UNILAG flag. So well done to the both of you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And our topic today, prior before we came on show, I told both of them, I said, we're just going to gist, but sometimes it's also good to have direction in the gist.
Yeah.
So our topic today is actually beyond the classroom, translating UNILAG research into solutions. So the first thing I would like to say is this. A lot of times, people do not have a good understanding of why they have to come to school. And that's why they do not have a good understanding of why they have to come to school. And that's why sometimes, people finish and then because they're not able to translate what they've learned into their immediate environment, you now start hearing things like school is a scam. You know, but I do not believe school is a scam. In fact, I tell people who say school is a scam that the people who are saying this to you better make sure that they are not nepo children, as they say. Make sure that there's no trust funds waiting for them. You know, but again, you look and see that sometimes the reason why they say this is that, you know, some people find it difficult to see the direct application of things that we've learned.
Yeah.
And it's like they go to school, okay, so what next? Some people are not thinking innovation, they're not thinking research. So now bringing it down to both of us, or rather three of us, we've already established that there is a direct connect between, you know, undergrad and what you get to do outside. So I'll start with you, Eniola. You know, you've come in, you're a student. What would you say inspired you to begin innovating and taking that thing from the classroom to product? You have your AI product that is helping with malaria. So what was the inspiration behind it?
Inspiration behind it. I would say we've all gone to clinics, hospitals, and any healthcare center. And most of the time, when you go into some of this, you know, clinics and healthcare centers, you see them, you see the equipment, the medical equipment that they use, right? And the next thing you want to check, oh, let me see where this is made from. Then you see made in China, made in US. All of those name tags are written on it. And it baffles me because I'm like, we have brilliant mind in Nigeria. We have great innovators, but I'm not necessarily putting that forward into innovation, right? They just make research. And that was one of the things that really inspired me. And coming into UNILAG and having the platform and the kind of experience, the exposure that I had was really, really wonderful. So I interned at the UNILAG Design Studio, which is a biomedical engineering lab. I'm a physics student. My field is not biomedical engineering inclined, but then I've always wanted to be a biomedical engineer. And I told myself that when I get into school, I was going to tailor my portfolio towards everything biomedical engineering inclined, right? And that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing even at the moment, right? So I looked for places where I could intern at the UNILAG Design Studio. And I moved from being an intern to being a, how will I put it, an electronics student, you know, director, helping students understand how to put together electronics and make them work. And then I moved on to becoming the assistant head of training and development. And then I kept moving and all. And during the course of my, you know, journey in all of this, all we were doing basically were, you know, innovation, prototyping, getting our hands dirty with electronics components, ensuring that this thing works and, you know, not just work. We then began to define, okay, where do we want it? How do we want to transcribe some of these things that we see work into things that are being useful in outside field, in engineering, in agriculture, in medical field, in construction, in all of this field. And then I chose to, you know, settle down with the medical part since my earlier interest has been in the biomedical engineering unit. So my first interest, I would say, is, you know, my first inspiration came from going to the labs, going to hospital and seeing made in Nigeria custom labels to some of these, you know, equipment and things. And one of the things that really exposed me more to it is I did an informal internship during the ASU strike in Nigeria Institute of Medical Research. And I worked in their biomedical engineering unit. So meaning I was exposed to equipment, to medical facilities and all of that. And it baffles me every single time. And that I see made in US, you know, made in China in all of the labels. I'm like, we can do this. I can do this. And I'm challenging myself to be one of those innovators right here in Nigeria that will build something in the medical space.
That's a very affordable mindset because a lot of times, you know, you look in society and some people see that, but they do not see it as a space. You know, they do not see it as a gap that they can fill. They look and then the next thing is, you know what, if it's made in China, if it's made in the US, I need to emigrate to China. I need to emigrate to the US. I need to move to any country apart from Nigeria.
Not really. We have the resources, trust me. Even if it's little, we still have them. We just need to make use of them into good, sustainable solutions that will work out there. We have them. We have the knowledge. We have the research capability. We have all of these things. We have the human resources too. Trust me, Nigerians are very talented. Yes. And our youth are very skilled too. So yeah, I just thought to myself, all of these skills cannot, go to waste. Put them, channel them into a particular sector. And I chose the medical sector since my earlier interest is in biomedical engineering.
So when you wrote JAM, did you put in biomedical engineering?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, I did, and I entered into University of Lagos biomedical engineering, which was the first cohort then. And one thing happened, I had my subject combination wrongly done in my JAM. And that was, I remember I got an admission and I went to the HOD for, the registration that they do normally. And then the HOD told me, I'm so sorry. I know you're admitted, but your JAM registration or your JAM combination is wrong. And that puts me away. And then I got physics and I'm like, okay, still yet, I'm not stopping.
That's very, very good. That's very good. Like I mentioned, I could tell from the get-go that, I did. One of my friends, when we talk, we always say that a sound mind, can produce a whole lot of good things. If you tell yourself, I need to think straight, I need to keep the focus, it just helps you not derail at all. So Daniel, I'm coming to you because I'm enjoying your. So I want to hear you talk.
I was just giving that.
I want to hear you talk. So I'm going to ask you this question as I do not want to sound like I know it.
Okay.
So I want somebody who is like, if there's a 15-year-old listening to us, or if 14-year-old, let them be able to say, what does this mean? So before I ask you this next question, what exactly is technology transfer?
It's a very big question that I get to hear every time I organize different activities around it. And it's nice because that means we are
thinking forward.
We are thinking forward and we are reaching the goal. The goal of the university is to make people aware and to know what this thing is really about. So when I get that question, that means I'm doing a good job and people are really ready to get to know it. So technology transfer, explain to a 5-year-old. Okay.
Now you know that teaching children is
yes.
I've always wanted to teach, but I always say, if just put me in uni, I'm fine. I'm not teaching primary school. I'm not teaching secondary school. So explain it to a child.
Okay. So let me use this. Imagine you are going on the internet and then scrolling past different things, and then you just come across something very exciting to you that you really love it. And let's say it's on something like photosynthesis, as maybe you are being taught. I'm not sure they'll be teaching a 5-year-old, but let's use that example.
Let's use a microscope.
Yes, that's very interesting. Microscope is interesting. Oh, and you find it very, very interesting. You want to know more about it. And then you start, going forward. You didn't just stop at, this is nice. You go ahead to start checking, how is it made? What is it made of? What does it do?
So we're looking at a bit of reverse engineering.
That process. That process is like research. So, and the beginning of technology is you being able to make good research. So that's what the person is currently doing. You're making research about it. You want to know more. How can it? And then you find out that this is how it has been made. But then, during your search about the microscope, you figured out that probably the handle is made up of plastic. We are using as an example. And why is it made up of plastic? Why can't it be made of glass? Why can't it be made of? So now you are finding what we call the gap. During your research, you're finding what we call the gap. And that gap is what will now lead to what we call the problem or that you are going to solve. in that research that you're making. Now, technology transfer comes in this view. And that is you being able to transfer after you have been able to get the solution, or you
figured out the
solution, and then you now begin to think of how you want to make the end users. Because if you're just making a solution and it's only known to you and people around you and it's not getting to the end user, that is just going to probably be research on paper. We have a lot of that happening in Nigeria.
Yes.
A lot of research are just ending in paper and publication. So the university is looking at, we need to stop doing that, because we hear of people that there's even the possibility of this research being read by private people in Western world, and they go further, refine it, and make product out of it. Now
and then you that did the research, you're just here.
Yeah, just here, just receiving what's it called when they tag you? Is like tagging in our own term, but in research that's
like accolades for. There's a word, but it's not coming to.
It's not coming to. So maybe when I'm writing my own paper, then I mention this person in my introduction or
citing.
Thank you.
Yes,
citation. So according to this person, so the accolade people receive in this research is, I've been cited. 20 people cited me to become a professor. I think there's a particular amount of citation you should have. And in fact, for you to publish your work, you have to make payments. So you're spending money, and all you're getting is citation. It is good if you want to just continue in that line as a professor. But why can't our professors even? Let me not. It's not my place. So, but really,
but I get what you're trying to say.
So
why
now,
can't these things translate from just paper to actual work?
To commercialization. Yes. So when you're moving your research from research base to you want it to get to the end users. So that process is called technology transfer. You're transferring your research into commercialization.
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, I hear you mention our professors a lot, but I also know that students also do this research.
That's where I have to make a post. Maybe not my place to be saying that to them.
Because it's also in your place to actually look inward as a student and make research,
and also to say,
not just stop at research, but do something.
Because we professors started from being students, right?
Yes.
And we are in the school. We are made to people in science or engineering. In fact, everywhere, anyone can do research, right? So you just don't want to stop at research. You want to look at what the university is saying, how can your research move from just research based to commercialization? And that is how the technology transfer program began. Our VC is so keen on making UNILAG the university of the future.
Yes,
absolutely.
And she's really doing a great job. She's really doing a great job. So many people might not really agree with some of the things, but in that aspect, she's doing it. I've gone to different places and I hear people talk about her, and I'm just happy because it's a good thing because of the different things. So one of those initiatives is why the technology transfer, the office has been in existence for a while. There's an office called the Innovation and Technology Management Office, ITMO. It's just beside the library, but many people are not even aware of what the things they do.
Okay, so now, sorry to cut you. That office that you mentioned, and some of these forums that you belong to, the ones that you're the secretary and all of them, is there, you say students are not aware, but now let's move and imagine that a student is aware. Are there guidelines? Are there written? Is there a support system for students who want to actually transfer their research into viable products?
Yes,
absolutely.
Do you want to answer this?
Absolutely, because I'm a product of it.
That's why she's here.
Absolutely, I'm a product of it, right? So the Innovation Technology Management Office has really been helpful in my journey so far. All of the things that I've done, all accolades will be given to them for helping me, supporting me. So when you ask that question, absolutely, they are. One of the things that I know that the university is trying to do now for students who are coming in is to ensure that your one student at least gets to have access to some of these offices and what they do, and then even get trainings from some of these offices so they understand how to actually go about, research, innovation, and all of that. I started off with the ITMO office, and what I did, or when I went there, I applied for a program, the Project ITM program. Yes. So the Project ITM program is the project innovation to market, right? So you have an innovation, you have something doing, and you want to, get it to the faces of people out there. That's what they do. And then I applied for it, and I've since understood I understand the beginning to the end of what is expected of me to do to get my product to market. Mm-hmm. That's how interesting, because we did an incubator program that was solely innovators with, specialists, people in the business innovation space, people in the people that would really help you to get your innovation, and that they even understand the market strategies, all of this and above. They brought every one of these people into a room for this program for about 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. It was very thorough. I learned a lot. Before, I was just building that, I just wanted to get this thing working. But now the mindset has changed. Now the mindset is not, I want to get this working, is I want to get it to the market. And they've helped me to understand the process, which is you need to first understand the needs of your users, mm-hmm. right? Understand their pain points, understand their problem. If you understand that, that's when you can give them a viable solution that they will want to buy, right? And then moving on, you have to understand that you need to build something that people can see, right? Prototypes, right? Show that this is something that is workable. Show that this is something that is tangible, that in the long run, once they invest in it, it becomes something that people want, right? And then you move on to, I want to protect my work, patenting, mm-hmm. right? Intellectual property,
And they also guided you through this patenting process.
Every single thing.
Oh, wow.
Every single thing.
So first thing, like if you were to say itemize these steps, mm-hmm. the first thing would be one, apply.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Apply. First step would be have your idea.
It's you having your idea.
Yes.
Going ahead to build it to a level that you show that it can even work in the first way. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want, the office will not come and be working on an idea.
Mm-hmm. It has first step, idea. Yeah. Second step, apply.
It has to, second step would be, it has to meet the pain points of your users. Meaning it has to meet their needs. It has to be something that actually solves the problem of these users, that the idea. So for example, if I'm bringing an idea that I want to create more, I want this space to be more air conditioned, like fully, cold and everything. My idea is, I want to put an AC here, right? That's my idea. And then I come on to you next, right, and ask, Chioma, this idea of mine that I have, does it really solve the problem of it that you guys have here? Does it really solve the problem? And if you tell me, based on the feedback I get from you, or the research that I make, and I see that it doesn't meet the need, I go back to the board and then iterate and then do, this is the feedback that I got. So this will not work for them. I do something in that regard. And once I'm done with that, I then move on to, this is something that someone needs. This is actually, because if it's not something you need, you will not buy it when you see it in the market. So I have to actually address that your need. I have to ensure that it's tailored towards what you would actually want. And after that, when I'm done with that, I can go ahead and protect the idea, because now it's something that people want. It's something that when I finish doing, people will want it. Then I patent it. That's why intellectual property comes in, right? I own the idea. This is mine. This is what I've been able to do. And I've built something in this regard to actually show Chioma that, yes, this is something that can work, even though it's a small scale. Right? It's not, it's just a proof that it will work. So I come and show you, Chioma. I have a small battery system, conditioner, air conditioner, and I want you to see it. Let's test it out. And then you see it, and this will work. These are the qualities or the things that I feel like will be in this thing, right? And then you say, yes, if all of these attributes and features that you just mentioned will be there, then it's perfect for us. Then you're done projecting your idea. You go on to start, improving on the idea more. Yes, because you also meet other people aside from Chioma, right? You improve. And once you're done improving on the idea, you then begin to think of, okay, what are rules guiding putting out products in Nigeria? Legalization. That will then you be having legal bodies that would
governance,
government,
governance.
Exactly. And all of the time you do trials with people to ensure that this thing actually works. So from there, you then once you have the legal binding of NAFDAC, SON guiding your products, you're good to go. And then
so let's
start small.
Let's not make it. There's something I want to say. Let's not make it. So if some people might feel overwhelmed, how do I even know all these things? So the very first thing, right? That's why the university went ahead to create the first cohort of technology and transfer ambassadors. You see, that is.
In fact, that's the next question
you were going to ask. Yes, because I figured out some people might.
So the question I was coming to say
so go ahead and ask the question.
I know Eniola physics student, you mechanical engineering.
Yes.
Now, any other person who is listening to this might feel like this is something for just science students.
Oh,
exactly. So if there are other students listening and they're from other faculties or other departments, is it open to them?
It is.
Is it open to them? Can they get the feeling that if I come up with this, then innovation and technology transfer is open to me, irrespective of my department, irrespective of my course of study?
Oh yes,
it is.
So that will lead to what I was saying earlier. So the university came up with the first course of the ambassadors. So what is the function of the ambassadors? To create awareness, to be the representatives of the office, Innovation and Technology Management Office. So if you have an idea and you don't even know what to do next after you made the research, the function of the technology transfer ambassadors are to help you and guide you. So they are the first stop of people that you should meet from the Innovation and Technology Management Office. So we underwent like 3-day fully packed, 1 month training and all that before we were, satisfied as the technology transfer ambassador. So we have all the knowledge that you need. There are different people. We are, for example, in engineering, we're like they're in different faculties from there are medical, there are people in science, there are people in education, ambassadors in education. So I'm sure there's going to be an announcement soon from the office of the list of ambassadors. So you get to know them. They are the people there you have to approach. Even when you don't know what to do from your idea stage, they will guide you and help you to even move to a proof of concept, which will now be taken to the office. The office will now, look at your idea. If it is workable, then you move on. They will start guiding you. There are different opportunities, like the innovation to market opportunity that you underwent. There is all different training currently. I'm even in one. Also, the ABC Health Academy. So the office has a pool of opportunities that can be given to people that are able to move from idea to proof of concept stage or close to prototype level. They guide them and they provide. So the very first thing is to look for the technology transfer ambassador close to you. In engineering, I'm one. There's also Dr. Khadijat. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it. She's a lecturer in the electrical and electronics. I've not been able to undergo her, so I might not know her name very well, but she's very, very good. Electrical students know her very well, and I've only interacted with her a few times online, but she's very, very sound. So there are other people in science, so that it's open to everybody. Anyone can come up with a research. Just if you even go to the ITMO office, they will direct you to one of those TTAs, and then you know what to do from there.
Okay. In addition to what he said, I think, Choma, you also wanted to know if this is not an engineering or a technical. Yeah. So because
I studied law, so I imagine if I was an undergraduate here and I'm listening to both of you, I'll just feel like, this is for science students.
Yeah. But that's not the case, really. It depends on the idea. The idea can be software related, right? It doesn't have to be hardware. It can be software related. So when it comes to software related, there are things that can guide you to help you protect your idea at the end of the day. So it's not just a hardware, it's a software. Even for the creative art students, it's a something in regards to for example, for creative art students, they use a lot of design tools, right? So imagine you're trying to create something, and you know that thing will be useful, right? You start from designing, and when you're done designing, you then translate to maybe hardware, depending on what you do, or even if it's a software. So it's not just the engineering related.
And there's even collaboration.
Yes,
there's collaboration in which
I'm coming to that.
Because we're law students and we need you to help us with legal compliance and all the things that we need to know about any legal thing.
In fact, by the time I come to that, I want to make sure that I ask my question very clear.
All right. So let's not jump the gun.
Okay.
So we're going to go on a quick break first, so you can catch your breath, and then we'll be back shortly. Said earlier, Science World is that place where curiosity meets discovery. And today I have Eniola Adeleke, a final year physics student of the University of Lagos. And I also have Daniel Salau, who is studying mechanical engineering, also here at the University of Lagos. And we've had such an interesting time discussing, translating our research into viable products. So before we went on break, we were, discussing about collaborations and all of that. But I would want to quickly ask, when we see success stories, we just like to think that it was a walk in the park. Or sometimes it looks like a walk in the park. We do not look at the challenges. So I now want to ask Eniola and Daniel, if you have anything, you could also throw it in.
Sure.
What were the challenges that you faced in taking this, in taking your research from idea to commercialization?
Challenges. Okay, I think I will mention the most recent one that I have, and it's with what we call, there's a term we call clinical validation.
Okay.
Right. So I've been moving around different, hospitals and federal healthcare system that I'm thinking would be able to help me validate my products, right? So I will go to them, they do the testing on the product to see that it actually works and meets their standard, and so that other offices can really validate and say, okay, yes, this is standardized and can move into the market. So one of the challenges has been that getting those hospitals to actually validate those.
So this is still an ongoing process.
Yes, this is still an ongoing process, and it's been really challenging. I've gone to a couple ones, and then the responses that I get from them are really not encouraging. And for a country where we need to develop things, it's really alarming to hear some of the words that you hear from some of the clinics and hospitals. I'm like, whoa, why? But some of them are very receptive, and some are like, you hear questions like, what's in it for me? You get, and it puts you up because I'm just a young girl trying to just build something for my nation, right? And then you're telling me that what's in it for you? Let's work
and the test that you want them to do is coming at no cost to them, right?
It's coming at no cost. I just want you to test with some of the, reagents, some of the samples that you have in your lab, in your research institutes, right? Test my product and see that it actually serves you, right? These are things that I go there to tell them. And then you hear, what's in it for me? I'm like,
do you also have to go through sometimes red tapeism is a problem too. So do you also have experiences where they're like, oh, I need to take permission from this, I need to take permission, and then they give you this long chain of permission taking where it now looks almost impossible. So did you also experience things like that?
I've not, because the ones that I've gone to, they are top, and then the DG or the director very open when they hear the idea, but then have a conversation in their boardroom and hear the ending conversation. I'm like, no, don't do this, right? I don't really have issues with that. Most of the time, they are always receptive, especially if it is very particular to their work and things that they do. But my challenge is moving forward. I've told you my idea. I've told you what I've done, and needing your help now. Stretch forth your hand and help me. And then you hear things like, no, there has to be something. You have to give me something in return. And I'm like, yes, there is something in return for you. It's not what you're expecting, but trust me, in the long run, once this thing goes,
it's everybody's good at the end of the day.
It's everyone. At the end of the day, when I go out here, it's going to be a Nigerian innovator. It's going to be our own thing. Your name will be mentioned at the end of the day because you supported, you helped, right? And all of those things. But no, they don't. It's been one of the challenges that I've been having so far.
So have you brought that feedback back to the university?
Yes, I gave the feedback back to ITMO, and then we're still currently, strategizing on what we can do moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. So Daniel, did you have a similar experience?
Mine is not up to this stage. So mine is a peculiar one. She came up with it. I think, was it from an innovation challenge? I'm not sure. Was it?
Okay, for mine. I work in an innovation space, so yeah, it was a regular routine to prototype, do things, and then I just have to tailor mine.
So that's why I wouldn't even say I've gotten to the level she is, because
but you're getting ready.
It was last year. Last year there was a call for energy competition, myself, and that's where we're getting there. One of us, she's from education, physics education, so it's. That was where I was going to talk about collaboration, and in fact she's the team lead. So everything is we are in the process of we were able to demonstrate the proof of concept. We are in the innovation to market training that she underwent. That is where we are. So still fine-tuning the prototype, the proof of concept to become a prototype ready solution that can now be taken into the public for people to test. She's now in the testing stage, so we're just in the stage before the testing stage.
Okay. So now, Eniola, I know that, you've mentioned these challenges, but I also know that sometimes you could calculate impact even before the end of everything. Mm-hmm. So far, what would you say has been the impact of your product? From testings you've done so far, from, how would you say, if you were to measure, how would you say at this point where I am now, this has been the impact of this product?
At this point where I am now, I would say the impact has been the fact that I know that this is not just for hospitals, but also for research institutions and for even global health, organizations such as WHO, when they want to have maybe research on malaria, my device will be a go-to. Okay. Right? So it's one of the impacts that I'm thinking that, this device is going to give in the long run. And the fact that this is home. And is our country, which is is a country that is malaria endemic, right? And knowing that people that are in the north, right, will get to experience this product, right? And these are places, strategic places where we know malaria is very infested in, and before anything else, they can diagnose smartly without misusing drugs or even worst case scenario, growing drug resistance.
Yes, because that has been such a problem these days.
Yes.
We're talking of, I had somebody that we had to treat malaria, and you finish an entire treatment, and it's still there.
It's still there.
So you're now getting to hear things that we've grown malaria resistant or the antibiotics resistance.
Because they never diagnosed rightly. Every single time in Nigeria gets fever, the next
small headache.
Exactly. The next go-to is anti-malaria drugs. And that has been our problem. So I'm so happy that Rioscope is going to make that impact, right, everywhere. And it's something that is, really portable and easy to use. So even people in the north, hospitals in the north can easily just adapt it into their system, diagnose malaria in 4 minutes, meaning several samples be undergone in a very huge span of time. And I'm so happy for that impact and what it's going to do to the people and how, Nigeria will become, at least I'm looking forward to reducing the malaria the statistics that we all hear from WHO very greatly with my device.
It would be such a very, very good idea. So Daniel, I'm coming to you, and I'm happy that I kept this question for last, because this is where we're going to talk a whole lot.
Okay.
So collaboration. Yes.
Yeah.
The beautiful part about it is we all exist in a system where nobody's an island.
No one is.
You need me, I need you. And some people think, I remember one time I had to do something with the University of Lagos, the Idiaraba place, and I had to deal with the lawyer there. And somebody said, Lut has a lawyer. I'm like, what place doesn't have a lawyer? What place doesn't have a lawyer? And then you come into my previous workspace as well. We had a doctor there because it was a staff clinic. So we're beginning to see that, everything and everybody matters. So at this point, how does collaboration step into the whole idea of the technology transfer, the research, taking these products from, the ideation stage to them becoming viable products? How does collaboration come in?
Collaboration is a very powerful, should I call it a tool? Yes, a tool because it's going to help whatever you're doing. Now, imagine you as an engineering student, you just think all you can do is your divide the X, you just go online, make all the research, do all the. By the time it will eat you hard is when you're about to now, you start looking for the knowledge for legal compliance, for example, all these things. There are things that I'm learning right now as a technology transfer ambassador because we are made to learn all these things to be able to put others through. That I could not have thought I could learn it. But if you are starting your building your products or making the research, and then you have someone from law in your team, you have someone from education, from creative arts. Look at that dynamic.
They're there from the get to go.
From the get to go.
Yes.
So
not that at the end of
not just at the end, that's when I'm beginning. So the collaboration will boost the speed at which you get to move, because then you will have to start going back to go and learn about the whatever terminology is being. Maybe you have to host. We are finally, my team we just submitted a patency form for the product we are working on. So imagine we had to learn and relearn and watch a lot of videos to understand what we're even going to do. But if you have someone on the team, the person will just guide you and the team will just move together as a team effort. So having people from other
walks of
other spheres, it's going to give you speed and it's going to make your product wholesome. It's going to make your product wholesome.
So in other words, what you're essentially saying is that in your product design, your design flow and your design strategy is very essential. I just like what you said about the time it took you to go and start learning afresh instead of having somebody. So you now have to get people where from the beginning, they're like, okay, at this stage, this is where the lawyer person, I don't have to wait for you till the end. This is where you can come in. By the time we move to stage 2, this is where you can come in. So by the time we get to the end, okay, so that's wonderful. Now, apart from, you've used the law because you've had to deal with intellectual property and you've had to deal with ethics, you've had to deal with compliance. Are there other fields that you've also had to deal with? Has an accountant stepped into your equation?
Yes.
Definitely, because we are going to...
model.
Come on.
And I'm sure marketing has also stepped in.
Yes.
Communication.
You need to understand your market
everything.
Everybody.
You're going to, because you have not started actively going to meet investors. You will start meeting investors. Right. What are they looking for?
Yes.
It's how are they going to make the money?
How do you want to get funding?
How do you want to get your funding? What is your cash in? Your flow?
I recently applied for Tonini Million Foundation, and then some of the things they asked me, I'm so happy that I had people, even if they were not part of the team closely, but they were advisors that really, helped to understand some of this process. So, for example, when they were asking me for business model, I was thinking, accounting. Hey, what do I know? But because I had an advisor who is in the business innovation space, it really helped me out. All kudos to
Imagine if you had
Mr. Ayo Emakome. Yes.
So
it really helped me out. I had a Lego thing a time where somebody came in and said they wanted to, buy a shares, equity from my company because it's registered already. And then I had to look for a lawyer because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Very true.
Do you understand?
And this is the foundation stage where you could get to make a lot more mistakes. If you're not careful.
Yes.
As they say, you give your porridge for what's that thing you so did? You just carry it. So you just sell your birthright like that. Yeah. So it's very interesting that you have that. I'm going to ask another question. Now, when I was an undergraduate here, I remember, I think I started with UNILAG FM, I was in year 2.
Awesome.
That was the first, when they established UNILAG FM. And when I come, so you say, so you're in law. Don't you know that law? You have to read. And then you're finding time, you're going to the radio station, And in my head, I'm like, okay, the balance is up to me. So some people, now the fact that you're able to walk through it doesn't mean, like I said in the beginning, it's a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park. The fact that I would come on here, it meant that I've taken away 1 hour from something else. So I'm going to have to replace it. Maybe I would have to wake up earlier, or I would have to, go to bed, watch later, or I would have to skip. I wasn't you call me for party on your own. So those are some of the sacrifices. So now to other students like you who are listening and wondering, how can I do big things when I also have to keep up with my GP? What would be your advice to them?
I would say priority matters. And aside from priority, obviously our education is the priority. But then there's also the mindset of being responsible, right? In being responsible, you understand that, okay, I have my grades to protect. I also have, people's lives to save, right? So being responsible and being, goal-driven, that's the word. Goal-driven and also very, very smart with how you work, right? I tell myself, Eniola, you can be excellent at everything. You can be, and that's what I aim for every single day. Because one of my professors will say something, Eniola, you need to learn how to juggle things together now, because you know what? As you grow older, responsibility it doesn't go away.
Easier.
So you're gonna be a mother one day.
That is one thing that many people.
So you just have to
don't
learn
understand
now
on time, because I find it now that with more responsibilities, I get to ask people. I have mentors. So one thing I think I would advise also is people having mentors in different areas. It helps a lot, and in guiding you, I have people I report to, responsibilities checkers, they check accountability. I submit reports, submit everything I'm doing. So you don't want to misbehave. So that just by the way. But what I want to say is that you get to have more things as you grow older.
Yes.
So it's good to always be with it from now. And so that when you get to that stage, some people say, when we get to that bridge,
of course not.
There's nothing at that bridge. Because I remember there were things I wanted to do when I had my first child, and I would say to myself, you know what, when baby grows a little, her baby now grew a little, so another baby. And I'm like, and then when these 2 babies are, and then the 3rd baby came, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no, if you want to do it, you better have to do it now. It doesn't get easier.
So actually, I think we all, because I'm still figuring it out.
Yes,
right?
we're all figuring it out. That's one thing I had to learn with adulting. I have friends in their 40s and 50s, and they are still figuring it out.
Yes.
And you have to make peace with that. Because some people think that they're failing because they don't know enough.
No.
But the moment you understand that, you will always be figuring it out. Your 50s and your 60s, that's what life is. So make peace, absolute peace with that. And the mentoring thing you mentioned earlier, I think it's also because it's not easy. If I want you to be accountable to me, I have to make time for you.
Yes.
So I think we also have to show gratitude to those people who have gone ahead of us, and they are saying, I'm going to take time out of my busy schedule
I know,
and
right?
make sure that you are doing the right thing.
I know.
So people who are able to pay it forward, we have to applaud them.
Yes.
We are going, we're going to have to round up a bit.
Awesome.
I mentioned during the break, I was saying to them, I said, see, once you're enjoying yourself on radio, 1 hour would go and
It's
you won't
gone.
know. So I want to take final words from both of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to look back at student-led innovations in UNILAG, say 5 years from now, what would you want to see? So I'll start with Daniel.
What I want to see in student-led innovations, I want to see innovations that are solving real-world problems. And not just innovations that are being made because you just want to innovate. There are some people that just come up with some ideas and
it sounds nice.
Sounds like exciting,
Yeah.
right? Exciting ideas. But what problem is it actually solving in the environment, local environment, in Nigeria, in Africa, right? Tailored towards the environment. So innovations that will be tailored towards and would also be ready for the market. And in fact, in the next 5 years, we should be talking of people that are already startups, or there's another pathway. It's not only you. It's not only pathway that you will be the startup owner. There's also the path where you get to sell off your after you've done the patency, before any other person can buy it. You have to have signed the patency, right? So you can sell it off, and big companies, big business owners will buy off the idea from you. So we want to have stories, success stories of people who have created innovations tailored towards the humanity needs, and they are already becoming startup founders or selling off their ideas to people that can take it to bigger level.
Wonderful. So let's have you, Eniola.
Okay, for me, I would say I want to see the future. Just like Daniel mentioned that the VC is looking at UNILAG as the university of the future. I want to see the future. When I say the future, I want to see a university where students don't just graduate with BSc or just degrees, but they graduate with people having, degrees, and also, startups to show for it. That yes, I didn't just go through school, but I made something out of school. And the result that I can show for it is I have a thriving startup.
Mm-hmm.
I have something out here in the market that the world needs. I have something that is helping people out there. Yeah, that's what I want to see in 5 years from now when I come back to
I think we should pick something for this program. Don't just go through school. Make something from school.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go through you. Thank you so much. It has been an interesting 1 hour.
Yes.
You see? So a bit of listeners, just before we started, this is Eniola's first time on radio by I had this conversation. She was like, it's my first time. And I'm like, just relax. Before you know it, the time is up.
Yeah.
And here it is. Our time is actually up. So Science World, like I said, Science World is where curiosity meets discovery. And we have had Eniola Adeleke. Eniola is the founder of Rioscope. She's also a final year physics student here at the University of Lagos. And we have also had Daniel Salau, who's a mechanical engineer.
Medical?
No, medical. Daniel is a mechanical engineering student also here at the University of Lagos. He's a secretary of many, many places. And he's doing so many great things. Both of them are doing great things for themselves and for the university environment. My name is Achalugo Chioma Ilozumba, and this has been a wonderful time. This is us signing out and saying, please stay tuned to UNILAG 103.1 FM. Up next will be the Midday News.